when to the sessions of sweet silent thought I summon up remembrance of things past, I sigh the lack of many a thing I sought, and with old woes new wail my dear time's waste. Then can I drown an eye unused to flow for precious friends hid in death's dateless night, and weep afresh love's long since cancelled woe, and moan the expense of many a vanished sight. Then can I grieve for grievances forgone, and heavily from woe to woe tell o'er the sad account of fore bemoaned moan, which I new pay as if not paid before. But when I think on thee, dear friend, all losses are restored, and sorrows end. That was Sonnet 30. We've returned to legal financial metaphors, which I can't remember which previous sonnet this, and actually it was probably multiple, but I found myself at odds with that particular metaphor, and it's coming up again here with this concept of human relationships as transactions and things that should be kept a tally of, and people should have tabs and debts and things to be tracked and repaid or foreclosed on. I mean, I feel like there's a natural tendency to treat friendship in that kind of way, like you do something nice for me, I do something nice for you. But it's interesting, the picture that Shakespeare paints in this sonnet with, like, a courtroom where it's that fact that he has been keeping this record of it, this bank statement of loss and pain, that quantifying his loss in that kind of financial way. I don't know, maybe what he's saying is it doesn't help, because that's I think one of the things he's saying in this sonnet, of how old wounds still feel new, and in a way the older they are, the real pain, the real loss will grow as you distance yourself from it. Well, I mean, it's completely at odds with the time heals all wounds maxim, but how much truth is there really in that? Maybe it's not necessarily time, but perspective, or how much you root yourself in that loss, that if you don't, and maybe that is the what this sonnet is saying, that if you live by that transaction record, that if you keep that tab, that tally, then that loss will be fresh, because you're making it visible to yourself in a way that maybe is a commentary on with loss, and if maybe true loss and hardship is something that you need to move on from in more than just time, but in experience, maybe, and you need to go out and experience more of life, and add more to your story, to add, like, it's maybe not time, but events, like significant events in your life, add more to your story to distance yourself from that loss. I got all sorts of rambling, and this is not anything that because I keep a little journal and I write down some of these ideas, and this is not at all what I wrote down. It's a wonderful I think it's a wonderful way to talk about relationships, though, because there are, again, because it comes back to like whether or not it's good or healthy to treat relationships like transactions. I think there is a lot to be discussed there in terms of how maybe failed relationships maybe are treated too much like transactions and tallies and I'm winning, you're winning kind of thing. Um, but and this one especially had a very like turn at the end because it's like then I can this, then I can, and then he's really like the repeated words of um, grieve for grievance and um, um, for bemoaned moan grieve wail, like, and then at the end it's but when I think about you it's all good, um, which I think is kind of a nice I liked the way that kind of that lift at the end of because it's all relative. You can get bogged down in all that minutia, but at the end of the day, there are meaningful things that will dwarf the little shit, I guess. Yeah, so that was Sonnet 30. We'll do Sonnet 31 next week.